Hello, I want to go over just a couple of these vocabulary words. You have this sheet downloaded into your Schoology folder, excuse me. So you can go ahead and look at them yourself. You should actually, but a couple I want to point out. Acrylic paint, the very first one. Acrylic paint is the paint that we use. It's fast drying, um, which is different from the oil paint, which would kind of be its counterpart. Acrylic paint is what we use because it's fast drying and it is not toxic at all. A double loaded brush is when you have two or more colors on a brush. Fluid medium, this would be a type of liquid that you would mix into your paint that would make it um, thinner, I guess is a good word. We will not be using that. Gel medium, we also won't be using this, but it can make your paint slightly transparent. Gesso, if you have a canvas, it has been gessoed. Gesso is, it looks like paint. It's not paint. It can be white, it can be black, but it's painted onto the canvas before you actually begin painting. It makes it so that the paint has something to grip onto and it doesn't soak through the canvas. Let's see, we're going to go to impasto. Impasto is when you are painting thickly, specifically with your palette knife. So you can paint with your palette knife and add some texture. That's called impasto. Mixed media is using more than one medium. So if we were using paint and we used oil pastel, or we used paint and then we did some collaging on top of our artwork when we were finished with it, that would be called mixed media. Your palette knife, a shaped metal spatula used for painting instead of a brush. We love our palette knives. Your palette is your flat surface that you mix your colors on. A pigment, also known as color or hue. To prime would be to make something ready. So we would prime our canvas by cleaning it, or if it was slightly dirty, we could paint over it with white. Or if you have any other background color, you would paint it with that and you would be priming your canvas. Saturation, we know that one, the intensity of a color. Scumbling is kind of like scribbling, but with your paintbrush. Sgraffito is when you paint and then you can scratch into that paint. It's also a technique in ceramics. But so then you would see the canvas or the color of paint underneath the wet paint that you scratched into. I'm going to skip soft body. Stretcher. You are painting on canvases that are flat, but you will be painting on canvases that are stretched on a stretcher bar or stretcher bars. That is the wooden frame that your canvas is stretched around. A study is a comprehensive drawing or painting. So you have done a couple studies. We did one outside in the Nature Center, and then you also did one inside for this 1 or 2-dimensional drawing. But it's a smaller thumbnail sketch or painting. Tacky. Tacky means slightly sticky. Tempera paint is another type of paint that we will not be using. Skipping over transfers. Underpainting would be if you painted your entire painting completely in black, white, and gray, in grayscale, monochromatic. And then you could paint over it and you would have a solid guide, or you would be painting over it with a thinner, more transparent paint, almost like a glaze. Viscosity, that is how thick or how thin your paint or any liquid is. And then a wash is when you have your thinnish paint or your thin down paint, you can cover a larger surface with a wash of color, or you can put a wash over part of an artwork. It's also what you call, like it says there, it's also what you call your paint that has been diluted. So it's had water or some liquid added to it to thin it out. All right.